students of class 6th B, welcome to your new online classes. This is a biology class. In the last class, we have studied about pollination. There are two types of pollination, self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination occur naturally, but cross-pollination occurs through external agents such as wind, water and insects. So our first topic is agents of cross-pollination. Cross pollination takes place by various external agents such as wind, water, and insects. Because cross pollination occurs in different plants, so it needs an external agent like wind, water, and insects. So, the first topic is pollination by wind. How the pollination can occur by wind. Some plants like maize and wheat have dry and light pollen grains produced in a large quantity. Some pollen grains of the plants like maize and wheat, they are very light and dry and they are produced in a large quantity. As the flowers of these plants get matured, when they get mature, pollen grains are blown away by the wind. When the wind blows, the pollen grains also blow away. Some of these pollen grains fall on the stigma of a flower of the same type, thus resulting in pollination. And when the wind blows, the pollen grains also blow away with the wind and they fall on the stigma of the flower of the same type of the plant and they result in pollination by the wind. Next type of pollination is pollination by water. In some aquatic plants, the plants which live in water, like Hydrilla and Vallisneria, the male flowers are completely submerged in water. The male flowers are completely deep into the water. On maturity, when they get mature, they get detached, they get separated and float on the surface of water and comes on the surface of water and starts floating. The female flower that has a long stalk also floats on the surface of water. When a male flower moving with the water current comes in contact with the female flower, the pollen grains fall on the stigma, thus leading to pollination. When the water current happens, the male flower comes in contact with the female flower and the pollen grains fall on the stigma, which results in pollination. The third type of pollination is pollination by insects. In this pollination, insects like bee and butterfly, they collect nectar from flowers. They go to every flower to collect nectar. When these insects alight on a flower, when these insects come to any flower to collect nectar, the pollen grains stick to their bodies. When they visit another flower, the pollen grains are transferred to the stigma. They come to a flower to collect nectar and the pollen grains are stick to their bodies, and when they go to another flower to collect the nectar, the pollen grains are transferred to the stigma of another flower, thus leading to pollination by insects. Now here is an enrichment given about the pollination by insects. So the flowers that are pollinated by insects show the following features. First one is they have brightly colored petals to attract insects. They should have brightly colored petals so that insects may attract to them. Second one is they produce nectar so that insects go to collect nectar. Third one is they are sweet smelling, they should smell sweet. Fourth one is pollen grains and stigmas of such flowers should be sticky. Now here is a difference given between self-pollination and cross-pollination. So the first difference is transfer of pollen grains takes place from the anther to stigma of the same flower or another flower of the same plant. The plant should be same. In this, the transfer of pollen grains takes place from anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower of the same type. The plant may be different. Second point is in this type of pollination, in self-pollination, external pollinating agents are not required because it occurs naturally. In cross-pollination, external pollinating agents are required because they occur in different plants such as water, wind and insects are required. The third point is the flowers need not be large, showy and scented because it occurs naturally, so there is no need to attract insects. The third point is flowers should be large, showy and scented to attract insects. Our next topic is fertilization. So fertilization is the second step of reproduction after pollination. Pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. Now the second step is to fertilize the egg. So the second step is fertilization. After reaching the stigma, when the pollen grains are transferred to stigma, they develop a pollen tube which carries male cell on its tip. They carry male cell. The pollen tube travel through the style. Now the pollen tube travel through the style, which is the long stalk part, and reach the ovule inside the ovary, and they reach the ovule which is inside a ovary. The ovule contains a female cell which is known as egg. Now in this ovary there is egg, which is the female reproductive part. Now here comes a pollen tube which contains male cell. Now a male cell fuse with the female cell and get fertilized. When the male cell through the pollen tube reaches the ovary, when they reach the ovary, it unites with the female cell. They fuse with the female cell, and as a result, a single cell is formed which is known as zygote, which later develops into a new plant, which grows up and forms a new plant. So the process of fusion of male cell with the female cell is known as fertilization. Our next topic is post fertilization changes. So when the fertilization occurs, what are the changes that happens in the plant? So after fertilization, the changes that take place in each part of the flower are shown in table 2.3. First one, petals, stigma and anthers. They dry up and fall off. Second, sepals. They often dries up and stay attached or often fall off. Third, ovary. They develops into fruit. Fourth, ovary wall. They develop into fruit wall. And the fifth one is ovule, which develops into seed. Now here are some fill in the blanks given. So this is your homework. You have to fill them and write in your copy.